Once upon a time, in a very beautiful part of Nigeria, there lived a young man named Tunde, who was 25 years old and full of big dreams for his future. He decided to leave his small village and travel very far away across the big blue ocean to a different country so that he could work hard and find a way to help his mother and father live a better life. While he was away in that far-off land, Tunde worked from the early morning when the sun came up until the late night when the moon was high in the sky, and he saved every single coin and paper money he earned. Many people thought he was just struggling like everyone else, but Tunde was actually becoming very successful in gathering a mountain of wealth because he was very smart with his business. Even though his bank account was growing bigger and bigger every day, he never told a soul back home about his riches because he wanted to keep his success a complete secret until the right moment arrived. He lived a very simple life abroad and did not buy fancy cars or expensive clothes so that no one would suspect he was now a very wealthy man with enough money to buy many houses. Tunde spent many hours thinking about his parents and how much he missed the warm Nigerian sun and the green trees of his village, but he knew he had to stay focused on his goal of building a great fortune before he could return to see them. After many years of hard work, he finally looked at all the wealth he had gathered and decided that it was time to go back home to his family. But he had a very special plan in his heart to see if they would still love him, even if he had nothing at all. Tunde sat in his small room across the ocean and looked at all the money he had saved. But instead of feeling proud of his expensive things, he began to pack a very small and dusty bag with the oldest clothes he could find. He went to a market where people sold second-hand items and picked out a shirt that had faded colors and a pair of trousers that looked like they had seen many years of hard work, because he wanted to look exactly like someone who had gone away and found no luck at all. He tucked his shiny gold watch and his fancy phone deep inside a hidden pocket of his heavy trunk where no one could see them, making sure that when he stepped off the plane, he would look just like the same boy who had left years ago with nothing but hope in his heart. His heart beat fast as he thought about his plan, wondering if his friends would still want to play games with him, and if his parents would still hold him close if they thought he was coming back with empty pockets and no success to show for his time away. He practiced walking with a tired look on his face, and even made sure his shoes looked a bit worn out from walking long distances, because he was determined to hide his great wealth until he was absolutely sure about the hearts of the people he loved. As he boarded the big airplane to fly back to Nigeria, he felt a mix of excitement and a little bit of sadness, but he knew that this secret was the only way to find out who his true friends were before he shared his riches with the village. The long flight felt like forever as he stared out of the window at the clouds, imagining the dusty roads and the smell of home-cooked food, while all the time holding on to his secret like a precious treasure hidden under old rags. The sun was burning hot in the sky when Tunde finally arrived at the edge of his village, carrying his small dusty bag and walking slowly along the red dirt road that led straight to his family's small house. He saw the familiar green palm trees swaying in the breeze and heard the sound of goats bleating in the distance, but his heart felt very heavy because he knew he looked like a man who had failed in everything he tried to do. As he turned the final corner, he saw his mother sitting on a wooden stool outside the front door, and his father leaning against the wall, both of them looking a bit older and more tired than they did when he first said goodbye to them many years ago. When his mother looked up and saw her son standing there in his faded shirt and worn-out shoes, her eyes filled with big tears of joy because she was so happy to see him alive, even though she could see he did not have any fancy things with him. His father stood up quickly and walked toward him with a confused look, searching Tunde's face to see if the stories of success were true. But when he saw the empty bag and the tired look on his son's face, he simply opened his arms wide to give him a very big hug. Tunde felt the warmth of his parents' love as they pulled him inside the house, and even though the neighbors were whispering to each other about how the boy from abroad had come back with nothing, his parents did not care about money and only wanted to make sure he had a warm plate of food to eat. They sat together in the small living room with the golden sunlight streaming through the windows, and while Tunde told them stories of his travels, he felt a little bit sad to see them worrying about how they would feed another mouth. Yet he stayed quiet about his secret riches to see just how deep their kindness would go. As the days passed by in the quiet village, Tunde settled into a simple life of helping his father on their small farm and sitting under the shade of the large mango trees during the hottest parts of the afternoon. He watched very closely as his neighbors walked past their house, noticing how some people who used to be his friends would now look away or pretend they did not see him because they thought he was a poor man who could not give them any gifts or money. Even though it hurt his heart a little bit to see people change their behavior, he felt a deep sense of peace whenever he sat with his parents, because they continued to share their small portions of yam and vegetable soup with him, without ever complaining or asking why he didn't bring home any wealth. His mother would often pat his hand and tell him not to worry about the future, saying that as long as they were all together and healthy, they had everything they truly needed to be happy in this world. Tunde saw his father working even harder in the fields to make sure there was enough food for everyone, and he felt a lump in his throat seeing such great sacrifice and love from a man who thought his son had returned as a failure. One evening, he overheard some of the village elders talking about how disappointed they were that he hadn't built a big mansion or brought back modern machines. But he just smiled to himself and kept on sweeping the compound with a broom made of palm fronds. He realized during those long weeks that his parents' love was like a bright lamp that never went out, and he felt so grateful to know that they loved him for who he was and not for the size of his bank account or the fancy clothes he could have been wearing. One bright morning, when the air was fresh and the village was starting to wake up, Tunde knew in his heart that the time had finally come to show his family the truth about his long journey. He asked his mother and father to sit with him under the big shade of the tree in front of their house, and he reached into his heavy wooden trunk to pull out a small, shiny metal box that he had kept hidden under his old clothes since the day he arrived. When he opened the box and showed them the documents and the many bundles of wealth he had saved, his parents gasped in total surprise and could hardly believe their eyes, because they had truly believed their son was a poor man. Tunde explained to them with a gentle voice that he had only pretended to be poor so he could see who loved him for his heart and not for his money. And he told them that everything he had gathered was now theirs to keep, so they would never have to worry about food or hard work ever again. His mother began to dance with joy, and his father let out a loud shout of happiness that echoed through the trees. And soon the whole village heard the news that the boy they thought was a failure had actually returned as a great success. Tunde used his riches to build a beautiful new house for his parents and bought a big tractor for the village farm so everyone could grow more food. And he made sure that every person who had been kind to him when he had nothing was rewarded with a special gift. That night, the village held the biggest celebration anyone had ever seen, with loud music and plenty of delicious food. And Tunde stood in the middle of it all with a wide smile, because he finally knew that his family's love was the most valuable treasure in the whole world.